Welcome to today's deep dive, where we're going to break down the harsh truth about modern fatigue. More importantly, we're handing you a natural, step-by-step roadmap to actually reclaim your masculine vitality. So let's kick things off with a quick reality check. What do you think the average male's testosterone level is today? Are we talking 300, 400, or maybe 500? Well, modern science tries to convince us that these much lower levels are perfectly normal. But the reality? Our ancestors had significantly higher numbers. Over time, we've just kind of learned to live with the decline, basically accepting constant exhaustion as a totally normal part of life. And the consequences of that decline? They are absolutely drastic. A staggering 90% of today's generation has lost their traditional masculine energy, their natural aggression, and their self-confidence. We're seeing this massive shift where guys are becoming overly sensitive to just minor everyday things. And honestly, it's all pointing back to one core biological culprit: low testosterone. Okay, so here is our game plan. First, we'll cover the modern crisis, followed by the role of testosterone. Next, the signs of low T levels. And finally, the actionable steps, boosting through nutrition, training, sleep, and natural herbs. Stick around because this is your exact natural roadmap to fix this. Jumping right into Section 1, the modern crisis, and Section 2, the role of testosterone. Look, before we can actually fix the problem, we need to understand exactly what it is we're losing. And shockingly, this decline is often kicking in as early as 20 years old, which is literally the exact time when this hormone should be at its absolute peak. People usually assume it's just about building muscle in the gym, right? But this T hormone, which is produced in the testicles, is the literal foundation of masculinity. We're talking about the hormone that dictates your physical strength, your bone density, your libido, the depth of your voice, and even your mental resilience. When your T levels drop, your motivation, your discipline, and honestly your overall identity just start to chip away. It leaves you feeling completely physically and mentally broken. Moving right along to Section 3, signs of low T levels. Now, blood tests can fluctuate wildly throughout the day, so they really only give you an estimate. Because of that, instead of just relying on a single piece of paper, we need to watch out for 3 major physical warning signs of dangerously low testosterone. Sign number 1 is probably the easiest to spot: a lack of morning wood. If you're missing this morning sign, or even if the erection is just really weak, it is a glaring red flag. Morning is when your testosterone should naturally be at its absolute highest. So if it's not happening, it points straight to weak blood circulation, poor nerve sensitivity, and high stress levels that are literally blocking the hormone's release. Then we have sign number 2, commonly known as the estrogen trap. This one is wild. When bad fat builds up in your body, it actually produces an enzyme called aromatase. This enzyme then goes in and hijacks whatever testosterone you do have and converts it into estrogen, the female hormone. And what does that do? It leads to even more fat storage on your chest, thighs, and belly. If you're carrying that stubborn fat, you're trapped in a vicious biological cycle that's actively draining your masculinity. Finally, sign number 3, weak bones and unexplained muscle loss. There's this massive modern myth going around that cramping up and being exhausted by simple everyday tasks before you hit age 40 is just, low calcium or normal fatigue. But the biological reality, it's dangerously low testosterone causing that weak bone density and muscle loss. If you ever want to fix this, you have to firmly accept that this exhaustion is a hormone issue. Without that acceptance, you can't start rebuilding your production. Okay, so let's get into the solutions. Section 4, boosting through nutrition. We've got the diagnosis, now it's time to build those hormones from the ground up. And it all starts right on your plate, replacing a junk-filled diet with real, hormone-building nutrition. Think of these 4 nutrients as your absolute pillars. First up, protein. Essential for muscle and recovery. We're talking eggs, chicken, fish, paneer. Next, healthy fats, like desi ghee and almonds to really boost your hormone and brain function. But pay close attention to these bottom 2, they're a huge deal. Zinc is literally the raw fuel your body uses to produce testosterone. And right now, an estimated 80% of young men are actually deficient in it, which just completely kills their drive. And then magnesium. Magnesium is like your shield. It protects your testosterone by controlling cortisol, which is that pesky stress hormone that completely shuts down your T levels. And that leads us perfectly into Section 5, training, sleep, and herbs. Because diet alone isn't the whole shebang. You actually need to physically shock your body into producing more testosterone through some very specific, targeted lifestyle habits. When it comes to the gym, heavy strength training is absolutely essential. You've got to perform movements that engage the full body simultaneously. But the real secret weapon here? Focusing heavily on your leg workouts. Seriously, when you train your legs hard, your body is forced into a massive natural release of testosterone. Hitting these full body and leg focused workouts just 4 times a week will dramatically speed up your natural hormone production. Next up is the HIIT protocol, or high intensity interval training. Here's exactly how you do it. You run at your absolute maximum speed for 30 seconds, and then you rest completely for 1 minute. You just repeat this cycle about 8 to 10 times. Throwing this protocol into your routine delivers a literal shock to your system. It essentially tricks your body into thinking it's in a highly demanding survival situation, which forces it to rapidly pump out more hormones just to cope. Now look, we absolutely have to talk about recovery. You need 7 to 8 hours of sleep for overall growth. But, and this is a big but, you have to put the phone down. I mean, you probably already know the science behind this, right? But the harsh reality is that absolutely none of the nutrition or those intense workouts are going to fix your hormones if you don't put away your screens at night and get a minimum of 7 hours of high-quality sleep.
Finally, let's talk about an incredible natural boost to supplement your diet and sleep. Research really highlights 100% natural herbs like safford muesli and akakura. The best part? They have 0 side effects. When you take these with milk, they go straight to work, directly boosting your energy, bone strength, stamina, and libido. They are just incredibly powerful additions to your daily routine.
At the end of the day, testosterone controls so much of who you are, right down to the literal sound of your voice. Which brings us to a final thought. Want a deep dive guide on how to actually maximize your voice next? Let us know in the comments. Until then, put down the phone, fix your plate, and start reclaiming your foundation today.